About 2 years ago,
Konami debuted their Metal Gear Solid Master Collection.
how does the first MGS anthology volume compare to the original games? And what does it tell us about the future of the series now that creator Hideo Kojima is no longer with Konami? Let's find out.
Let's get this out of the way now. If you're a fan of this series, you should probably own Metal Gear Solid The Master Collection Volume 1. It's a massive bang for your buck. And though there remain a few disappointing aspects and missing modern features despite the 2.0 patch, mods and a surprisingly loving presentation of the core material both make this a relatively good remaster package. I mean, look at what Rockstar did with the GTA games. Imagine being a fan as I am of the PS2 era of that series and being stuck with their quote-unquote improvements. All things considered, Konami did a decent job here, even if the game took way too long to patch with features that it, let's face it, should have had at launch. And even if, according to Digital Foundry, as you can see in this video here, it's still mildly disappointing and needs some work. Talking about the Master Collection gives me mixed emotions, both as a longtime MGS content creator and fan. Because on the one hand, more could have been done to modernize these games. On the other, never before has so much MGS awesomeness been packed into one single release. I had a ton of fun on PS5 with this, before even realizing that now with the 2.0 patch, there's an AI upscaled mode that makes MGS 2 and 3 4K, or that there are a bunch of mods on PC that make all three games either better or more accurate to the originals or more silly. So yeah, there are disappointments here. And yeah, I love the hell out of the Master Collection. I bought it on PS5, Switch, and PC, and not just for this review. And no, it didn't feel good to give Konami that much money, especially when I didn't even get a physical version of the game when I bought it for Switch. Yes, these are just souped up ports of Blue Point's ports from 2011, with a few changes to one or two scenarios to keep things fresh. And they also addressed the controller's sensitivity thing, which is something I'll get into in a bit. Yes, there are a handful of still unfixed bugs, glitches, and little flaws, some of which are introduced by upscaling here and there. But despite all this, I have not been able to stop playing, which is a testament to the quality of the original games. I've only just begun to play around with this collection in 4K and with mods on PC, but even just going on the base day one launch version that I played that was capped at 720p, I begrudgingly admit that I had a blast. And yeah, on Switch it's still capped at 720p and 30 FPS I think, but on PS5, PC, and Xbox, the 2.0 patch gives it 4K upscaling, which looks pretty good, especially like the pre-rendered cutscenes. There's an AI upscaling feature that just blew me out of the water, honestly. And yeah, I mean, by including so much in one package, so lovingly, like with the soundtrack, with the scripts and stuff, even the crappy Nintendo games that 1987's Metal Gear on the NES and the 1990s Snake's Revenge, like these things are great for collectors, for longtime fans, and it just brings together all in one place everything, of course, that I love about the series. So I don't know, I just have mixed emotions about it. Okay, so now for the controls, the controller sensitivity issue, right? So in the original PS2 version, and in Blue Point's 2011 HD remaster, or however you want to put it, there was button sensitivity. And the way it worked is that you had to sort of like carefully let off of square after raising it so that he wouldn't shoot the gun. And in emulated versions and even in the Master Collection, this is ruined a little bit, because now the only way they've been able to make it work with modern controllers is to make L3 the way that you raise and lower the gun. So now the worst thing that'll happen is you'll move. You're not going to accidentally shoot the gun anymore. So that whole like troll element to say the VR missions with Pliskin, where he's often given just the M4 and you have to do holdups with the M4. That whole like in-game joke is kind of gone. It's sort of eroding away with the passage of time. I don't really think there's anything that Konami could have done about that. And I think at first I was a little shocked that they made any changes. Another one that they did was now you control the coolant in MGS2 with the right stick instead of square. But once I started getting used to it, I didn't hate that. Like I thought that was fine. And honestly, like being able to lower the gun without firing it reliably is great. And it's just the one thing I will say is that even if on emulation you can get some of the stuff to maybe look a little better, I'm not so sure that you really can consistently, actually. Like the 4K upscaling is incredible. And the thing that it has over mods, even though I know on the PCSX2 you can go up to like 8K textures if you wanted. Not that 8K gaming is really a thing, but there's just something about the production values, the quality of the overall experience when you actually have the official release and you're not playing it on emulator, that just works out of the gate, and it looks great. And I mean, yeah, I don't think I'll be emulating these games anymore, even though there are things that I'll miss about the emulated versions. There are things that I'll miss about the original versions, which I have. Like, I bought a PS2, I got the original games, I have an HD upscaler, and I think it looks great. But honestly, even though those are the original versions of these games are always going to be the definitive versions to some degree, right? Because not only are those the only ones where everything works as intended, but these games are made at a certain place in time, you know? So that's why the further away you get from when they came out, the harder it is to like make it make sense to modern audiences, because Kojima's games are usually designed around the technology that they are made with. So that's why Konami had they had their work cut out for them here. And I think all things considered, they did a pretty good job, even though the brunt of that work was done by Bluepoint in 2011.
政権奪取を狙う軍の武闘派だよ。2年前のキューバ危機以来、フルシチョフは西側との平和。
The fact is, Konami's reworks of these games are much more stable and polished than what can be achieved upscaling them via emulator. Emulating MGS oftentimes just feels too bootleg and incomplete. MGS1 is the closest to the original game here, and miraculously for longtime fans, Konami's MGS1 port maintains the original's look and feel in 4K despite the upscaling, something that's almost impossible to achieve via emulation. In an emulator, MGS1 in HD is plagued with warbly textures and lots of popping in the audio. While both games continue to suffer from misaligned text and graphics, MGS2 and HD emulators for many years couldn't correctly render certain characters properly, like Vamp or Liquid Ocelot. And features like the night vision goggles or the thermal goggles just didn't work on PC. Although admittedly, PCSX2 has made huge strides in recent years, and most of that stuff is now possible with the emulator. Konami tried to fix the pressure-sensitive gunplay issue by getting the analog sticks involved, like I mentioned.
It works in theory, but in practice, you tend to suddenly aim your gun at random times, and it feels a little scuffed. I feel like pretty much every time I would quick equip a gun, my character would suddenly be holding it out, even though I didn't press any button to make him do that. I'm not complaining too much, though.
Like I mentioned, they changed one or two gameplay scenarios ever so slightly just in the name of keeping MGS fresh. It's not Kojima's MGS anymore, but maybe that's okay. Ironically, there are a few visual effects that I noticed on emulators and on the PS2 original, but not in Konami's. Like the rippling heat that you see on the roof.
So, to recap and close this out. For me, the ultimate versions of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 are their original versions on the PlayStation and PlayStation 2. But for the vast majority of players, you can do no wrong with the Master Collection. It's as great a remaster and re-release collection as any Metal Gear fan could ever really hope for. And it's more Metal Gear Solid bang for your buck than any other version as well. The Master Collection consists of a handful of Metal Gears, from the first two titles on the MSX to the PS1 and PS2 classics as well. Let's not forget the collection also includes a soundtrack, all the digital graphic novels, and even the far inferior but still worth owning for collectors run of Nintendo Metal Gear games. And while I encountered a number of aforementioned technical flaws, there is no question that these versions of Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater and even MGS1 surpass the experience you might have with the same games on a PC emulator. MGS1's biggest flaw in Bluepoint's version is the sound quality. But on an emulator, it's common, as I said earlier, to encounter a lot of popping in the audio, so it's kind of a toss-up, which is better. Even if these changes inevitably introduce some blemishes to KCE Japan's legendary original game design, I was genuinely impressed by the HD team's devotion and can't recommend these versions enough. The inclusion of all the Japanese versions of Kojima's original masterpieces only makes the value of this collection even higher for me. And I can honestly say that I'm optimistic about the future for MGS if Konami keeps working with developers who actually give a shit. Until next time, boss.